Hello. So today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than usual. So as if you've seen my channel before, you may know that I do basically two kinds of videos. I construct my own puzzles and make videos where I walk through the solve path. And then I also do live solves where I solve someone else's puzzle for the first time in front of you guys. And yes, I do fast forward some boring parts where I got nothing done, but it is still live because I don't edit anything out, and any mistakes are still there. So anyway, this is a new kind where this is a puzzle that I have seen before, but I did not create, but I wanted to showcase it. And I think the best way to do that is to upload a video with a walkthrough solve. So it is the case for this one, but it's not always going to be the case that this kind of video is going to be an incredibly difficult puzzle. It might just be one that I solved on my own at some point. Like, for example, I helped test out puzzles on the Discord, things like that. And I wasn't recording at the time, or I tried to do a recording and it ended up not going well, in which case, if I really liked the puzzle, I might do a showcase instead. So this is the first of that series, and I'm sort of lumping in my solve of the contest Sudoku as well as my sister's video of her own puzzle as puzzle showcases. And so if you look at my channel now, I've updated it with 3 different playlists. So there's the playlist of live solves, a playlist of how to solve my own puzzles, and then there's also a playlist of showcases. So this is I guess the third in that series then, but the first officially. So anyway, what is this puzzle? Well, I can tell you up front that it is extremely difficult, at least it was for me. And that's not to discourage you from trying it, but just to say don't feel bad if you have trouble making progress on it. Feel free to come back, reference this video, see where you missed, and then see if you can continue from there. So anyway, this puzzle is called Why Can't We Be Friends? It's by a collaborative effort between Ryokousha and Philip Newman. So it's using the concept of friendly cells, which I'm not sure which of them invented it. It probably was Ryokousha, but please forgive me, Philip, if it was you who invented it, or maybe it was a collaborative effort. But what I do know is that Ryokousha's first friendly cell video was very recently featured on Cracking the Cryptic, solved by Simon, and I will link that video. I'll put a little card up to link to that video in case you haven't seen it. And that should help introduce you to the concept. So maybe watching that video could be a little bit of a hint towards how to solve this puzzle. Although I do say that I did solve Ryokousha's original puzzle and I found this one much harder. So with all that said, let's go over the rules. So first of all, we have the concept of a friendly cell. So what is a friendly cell? A friendly cell is when a cell has the value of either its row, column, or box counted in the normal way. So what is the normal way? It's, if you're counting rows, then you go from top to bottom, 1 through 9. So this is row 1, this is row 3, this is row 9. If you're doing columns, then it's left to right. So this is column 1, this is column 3, this is column 7, this is column 9. And for boxes, you go left to right, top to bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what this puzzle uses the concept of a friendly cell for a few different things, so it's important to know. Now, I have prepared this here, and I will put a link in the description to an image of this. This is the possible value of every cell if it's friendly. So feel free to reference that. I don't think it's really a spoiler. It's just I did the work for you of going through and pencil marking every row, column, and box and making sure I didn't remove or repeat. So I'm not going to point out anything specific about that, but there it is, and you'll be able to look at it yourself. And what are the rules? So first, every cell that's marked green, so these ones, must be friendly. So that's rule 1. Rule 2 is if you look at these arrows, they're kind of like little killer arrows, but we don't know the sum. Instead, what it means is that whichever cells happen to be friendly you add those up, and that sum needs to equal the other cells that are not friendly, or the unfriendly cells. So just as an example, on this diagonal here, if I have an 8 here, that's friendly. And if we look at our little chart here, 8 is friendly there. And so then maybe in order to fulfill this, we would then have a 2 and a 6 here. And the 8 is friendly, and the 2 and the 6 are not. Again, if we reference here, they'd have to be 7 or 9 to be friendly. So in this case, the friendly cell, which I guess I can highlight green here, is equal to, the sum of the friendly cells, in which case there's just one, is equal to, which I'll make orange, the sum of the non-friendly cells along this diagonal. So hopefully that's clear. And that's also true of this diagonal here. And finally, the most important rule, we have two circles which mark the start and end of a path, or a lot of puzzles call them a snake. Forgive me if I end up calling it a snake sometime during here. But thematically it's a path because we have grass and we're making a path. And we don't want to trample the grass. We love our grass, but we want to connect these two dots with a path. So we need to draw a path in some way that avoids our grass, but this wouldn't be allowed because it also has to be one thick. So basically it can't touch itself orthogonally. So the snake could touch itself diagonally. So for example, I could come down here, but it can't touch itself orthogonally. So it has to be one cell thick. And so those are the rules. And of course, this path, what's special about it, every cell on the path is friendly because it's a friendly path. So if I were to draw this path here and then come up over here and end here, right? Every single one of these yellow cells would have to be a friendly cell. So those are the rules. Feel free to click the link below and give it a try. And with that, I am going to get started. And again, this is not a live solve. I will be going off of notes to try to give you the best possible solve here. So, obviously the best way to start is to fill out the friendly cells on all the greens. And also, let's do our snake in purple. And these starting snake cells also have to be friendly. So let's do rows first. That's 1, that's 2. This is row 4. These are all in row 5. This is row 6. These are row 8. These are row 9. And we can do columns. Column 1, column 2, column 3, column 7, 8, and 9. And boxes. So this is box 3. This is box 1, box 4, box 6, box 7, and box 9. All right, so there's our start. And the first thing that should be fairly obvious is if we want to get from here to here, we have to go through the middle, right? That should be obvious. And there's 3 ways to do it conceptually. We can either go through here on the left, we can go through the center, or in some way we can go through the right. So it would be good to know if any of these are not possible to go through. So I'm going to start by saying if we come through here, there's no way to avoid taking these 3 cells on the path. And actually, there's no way to avoid taking all of these. But let's focus on these 3 first. So sort of think about it as if we want to get through here, there's no choice. We have to end up taking these 3. We could have gone this way, we could have gone this way, but ultimately we're taking these 3. So what are the friendly values of this? Well, it's row 3, it's box 3, and this is column 7, 8, and 9. So now if we look at this box and what's pencil marked in it, we're missing 4, 5, and 6. None of these have 4, 5, and 6 as options. So we'd have to put 4, 5, and 6 into 2 of these cells, which is not possible. So what that means is we can't have these 3 as... We can't be using these 3. And if we, as soon as we hit this cell coming from this way, we're forced to take these 3 and continue down. So none of these 3 is possible to be on our path. So here we would hit a dead end. So we can also mark off here. I might as well mark off this one as well. That's definitely not part of our path. So I'm using gray to represent can't be part of the path. So now it's not possible for us to come in through this way now because we would hit a wall. So these 3 also aren't possible. Oh, sorry, this one's still technically possible, but these 2 aren't. So next, it would be nice to know if we can make it through here. So let's focus on these cells. So let's say these 3 were path. And that's unavoidable. If we're going to come through here, we have to take these 3. And we could branch from here, but we'd actually also have to take this one and this one. So, but let's focus on these 3 first. So for these 3, we're column 1, we're rows 4, 5, and 6, and we're box 4. So these are our possibilities. And again, we're missing 7, 8, and 9 from this box. And so we'd have to fit 7, 8, and 9 in 2 cells. That's not possible. So what that tells us is that it's not possible to take these 3 cells as part of the path. Technically, we could take this one still, because we could turn. But these 2, definitely not. And so that means if we were to come here, definitely can't take that. And if we were to enter here, our snake would have to kind of curl back around, and it would touch itself orthogonally. So we actually can't take these 2 as well. So we could just squeak out that turn. So we're not going to mark that yet. Okay, so next we want to determine if it's possible to take this cell. And the only way that's going to happen is if we take this, we round this corner. If we round this corner, this can't be in. So from here, we'd also have to take here. So let's focus on these 3. So the possibilities for this is we're row 6, we're columns 6, 7, and 8, and we're box 6. So these are the only possibilities, 6, 6, 7, 6, 8. Oh, sorry, I did that wrong, 7, 8, 9, like that. And then, so we're both box and row 6. All right. So if we look, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we need 1, 2, 3. Again, can't do 1, 2, 3 in 2 cells. So that means we were looking at this cell. That means if I undo back to what we had, this cell can't be in. And similarly, if we look at this cell here, again, we'd have to come down this way. We have to turn this corner. And this cell's not in. So it's kind of a mirror of what we did before. So these would have to all be in. We're row 4, we're box 4, and this would be 1, 2, and 3. So again, we're missing 7, 8, and 9 to put in these 2 cells. So again, this cell's not possible. And next we can check this one. So if we have this cell in, again, we have to turn this corner. So we end up with these 2 in. So the possibility for these is 7 and 8 for the columns, and then both the row and the box is 6. So what are we missing? We're missing, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're missing 1, 2, 3, and 9. That's 4 values for 3 cells. Again, not possible. So we can eliminate that one as a possibility. And this one, we're going to end up with the same thing. So if I mark this, I have to turn this corner, which means I have to take these 2. What are the possibilities for these 2? Well, we're row and box 4, and then this is columns 2 and 3. And we have, this didn't add any more digits to these, right? So we're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need 1, 7, 8, 9 in these 3 cells. That's obviously not possible. I think you get the drill at this point. So There we go. We have this pattern now. And next what we'll see is what would happen if we started here. So we start here, where can we go? Well, we can go up, but then we can't turn right because we touch ourselves. And if we turn left, we can't go down. So we can't go up from here. Can we go left from here? Well, no, because if we go down, we have to loop back. If we go up, we have to loop back. We're going to touch ourselves. And same if we go down. We can't go right. We can't go left and up. So this cell, we're not going to come out of this cell. And it's the same deal here. It's exactly mirrored. And so now if we come out the top or bottom, obviously if we come out the right, we can't loop back and come back in. So the only way we're going to end up in this box is if we come out the top or bottom. But if we do that, we have to loop. Sorry, if we go left into the box, right? If we want to end up into this box, like obviously if we come out here, we could go this, or we could go out. But if we come out this way and we go into the box, we have to come back around and then we touch ourselves. So none of these are possible to get to, and same here. So now we've limited our path, and it's pretty easy to see now that our path is going to end up somehow coming up through this box and then hitting our, probably the longest possible path is something along these lines maybe. But as you can see, we're coming through the center, and we're not sort of taking detours into the right side of the grid. So now that we know we go through the center, it'll be good to know about our center. So let's fill in our possibilities here. So this is row 4, row 5, row 6. This is column 4, column 5, and column 6. And then we're in box 5. So you can add 5s to those two. So something to note is, I think this is true of boxes 1, 5, and 9. And if we bring up our little guide here, it's pretty easy to see. In boxes 1, 5, and 9, friendly cells only have 3 possibilities. So 1, 2, 3 in box 1, 4, 5, 6 in box 5, 7, 8, 9 in box 9. And so as a result, if we go back to here, we can't ever have more than 3 friendly cells on our path. Because as soon as we add that 4th friendly cell, now we have 3 values for 4 cells, and that's not going to work. So the only way to get through box 5 is to just blast straight through, just a straight line. If we try to take a detour, well, now we have too many cells. So we either go straight through here, or straight through here. And because there's no detour, we're actually going to end up taking all 5 of these, all 5 of these, or all 5 of these. There's no other choice. Because once we're going all straight through, the only way to get to this cell, I suppose we could curve, right? So for these, we could curve. But that's not important. What's important is we're taking 3 vertically. So this is where things start getting a bit tricky, and I think where a lot of people are going to end up stuck. Let's start with the center, because that's the most straightforward. So if I were to blast through this center here, for lack of a better term, as you can see, this has to be 5, and so then we end up with 4, 6 like this. So we get 4, 5, 6 like this. Now let's look at the effect that has on these greens. Now I haven't talked about these green squares yet, but this is the perfect time to do it. And I'm going to talk a bit generally about them first. So you'll notice that this is what's called an almost locked set, or ALS. Not the disease. It's just an unfortunate happenstance. So an almost locked set. So a locked set is where you have, say, a triplet or quadruple, right? Where between those cells, you have to have one of each of the possible values. This is an almost locked set because it means as soon as one of the values is removed from it, it becomes a locked set. So for example, if I were to remove these 2 4s from here, now we're a 5, 6, 7, 8 set. If I remove 6s from here, now we're a 4, 5, 7, 8 set. So we become a quadruple as soon as we remove one value from here. But what did we just do? We removed a 4 and a 5 from this box, this 2 by 2 area. So you can even see that you go, okay, well, this is a 6, 7 now, so we can't be 6 here, and now, okay, we have to have 8 and 2. But really what it means is there's 3 values for 4 cells. And so that's not possible. So if we were to come through the center here, it makes this grass impossible. So if I undo all this, what that means is these are not on our path. So another thing to note here is for these individually, if I were to color this and say this is where our path is, you'll notice we end up with this 4 or 5 pair. So that forces a 6 here. And we already know we can't go 4, 5, 6. We're not allowed to go 4, 5, 6 because just like we saw in the center, that removes 4 from here and 5 from here. So we have to avoid that. So we'd actually have to be 5, 4, 6. Similarly, if we were to take this path, we have a 5, 6 pair that forces a 4 here. And then again, we can't go 4, 5, 6. So we have to go like this, 4, 6, 5. So those are the possibilities. So we either come through here as 5, 6, 4, or we come through here as 6, 4, 5. So the next thing I'll show is something even more interesting about these almost locked sets, which is, I guess I'll just go through one demonstration. I'll go through a few demonstrations of this just to be completely clear about what's going on. So let's do it this way. If I put a 3 in here, so let's say this were 3. What consequence does that have? Well, we immediately see that this becomes a locked set. And so we have to have 2, 4, 5, and 6 in these cells somewhere. And we can see that 5s are limited to these 2 and 6s are limited to these 2. Well, if 6 is limited to these 2, we certainly can't put a 6 here. So now this part of the gate is closed. We can't come through here anymore because this cell can no longer be friendly. But these 5s, they also see here and they make this a locked set. This is now a 4, 6, 7, 8 locked set. And if we look, 4s are limited to up here, which removes this 4. And now we can't come through here. So now we've locked our paths. Our path can no longer get through box 5. It's just, it'll get stopped here, or it'll get stopped before it can even enter. Or on this side, it'll get stopped here. So what this means is this can't be a 3. Similarly, if we were to put a 7 here, something else happens. So we remove 7 from these. And sorry, before I forget, that means that we can't put a 3 anywhere in this column. It'll have the exact same effect. It's not just from here. So we can actually mark that we must have a 3 in one of these 2 cells. That's important, because if there isn't, we lock the gate. So sorry, back to here. We remove 7 as possibility from here. So now, again, we've created this set of 4. So we've locked the right side immediately. But here, 5s, you can see, are limited to these 2, because these can't be 5. And so that comes around here. That removes 5 from here. And again, these 6s remove this. That locks the gate again. So we get 2 things out of that. We know this can't be 7 anymore. And we also know that there must be a 7 in one of these 2. Because even if a 7 were here, that still locks the gate. So this can't be 7 either. So now if the path were to take this cell, it would have to be a 6. That's what that means there. Okay, so now we are going to look at 2s. Can 2 be anywhere but here? And we'll use this as an example because that'll allow us to eliminate a 2 here. So if a 2 is here, that removes 2s from here, and you can see almost immediately it's going to have the same effect, right? We got the 6s here removing this 6. We got the 5s here coming over here. It's no different. It removes this 4. That closes the gate. So this can't be a 2, and even more importantly, the 2 must be in one of these 2. So I don't know what happened to my marks there, but we got the 2 and the 3. And then we might as well check this 8 as well. So can we not have an 8 here? Well, it's the exact same consequence. The 4s look across to here. The 5s look across to here, eliminating 5s, causing the 6s to look here. And now the gate is locked again. So the conclusion is, in all of these almost locked sets, this must have a 2 and 3 in it, which must be vertical, and these must have a 7 and 8 in them, and those must be vertical. So these 7s look up here to eliminate that. These 8s look up here, eliminating both these 8s. And now we have a 1-3 pair, and just to be clear, because these are green cells, they have to be friendly. We are able to do pair logic and stuff like that. We need to be careful about these cells that aren't colored yet, because they aren't the true values. They're the values they would have to be if they were going to be on the path. But for our green ones, we know they're already friendly. So I just wanted to make that clear in case there was confusion. And so that 1-3 pair does remove 1 and 3 from these. So that forces a 2 and 9 here. So this can no longer be 2. We actually know it's a 1 now. All right, so next I'm going to fill out the possibilities for box 2. Because we basically need to figure out how's our snake going to travel in relation to box 2. So I'm going to fill out all these that are, snake adjacent. So let's start in box 1, actually. It's box 1, but we have a 1 placed, so it can't be 1. This row 1 already has a row placed, and it's column 3, but there's a 1-3 pair here. So it can't be 1, it can't be 3. Those were the only options. Again, let's look. These are 1-3. So can't be 1 or 3. So this is actually no longer possibility friendly. So that saves us some time. It can't go up. What about this one? So we know it was 1 or 3, but it can't be 1. So it would have to be 3 if we took it. This one here, let's just look, 3 or 4. All right, and we have 3s marked here, but actually, if you remember, we eliminated 3s from this column. So we can eliminate that 3, and so now this cell can't be friendly either. So we can't come out here. And so now, how are we going to get into this? This would block the snake, because the snake can't trample the grass. Sorry, it's a path, not a snake. And so that also can't be on our path. So now we could do some kind of shenanigans like that, but let's see if that's actually possible. So I'm just going to fill out the possibilities here, and then we'll eliminate. So 1, 2, 3 for the rows. We've got 4, 5, 6 for the column, and then the box is 2. And this row we can eliminate 2. This row we can eliminate 1. And of course, we have to take this cell because the path has to get out somehow. So we can place this and actually fill a 4 here. That does a lot. So that eliminates these 2 4s, but it also eliminates this 4, and that closes this gate. We're never going to make it out through here, so we can't just barrel straight down. So we can actually mark those as gray. This has to be part of the path, and which means this has to be on the path as well. We can place the 4, 6, 5 here. And let's do all the cleanup that happens for this. So 6s are eliminated all up here, so we can mark this gray. Now, of course, we can't make it through here, so these can all be gray as well. Let's just delete those. We could still take the 5 or like this, or we could come down and come across here. So we'll work on that in a bit. But this 6 eliminates 6s from here, and this 4 eliminates 4s from here. So now we actually know that 6s are going to come across to the left this way, and 5s will come across the left this way. So 5s are eliminated here. And we know that 6s are now coming across here. And that actually sees this 6, so that's gray. And so now the path has to come down here. We'll fill that in a sec. So now it would be prudent to fill out all of these cells just so we can know if they can end up being friendly or not. So this is going to be row 7, row 8, row 9. This is column 3. This is column 4, but there's already a 4 there, so let's not bother. Column 5. This is column 6, but there's already a 6 here. And this is box 7, so we can add 7s here. This is box 8, so we can add 8s wherever we're missing an 8. And this is box 9, so we can add a 9 to that. Elimination, so remember these two have to be 7, so this can't be 7. And that should do it because we did it as we went. And so now let's experiment with directions to go. So the easiest one to see is what happens if we come down here? Well, we have a few forced moves. So we'd have to go left, and then we can't touch ourselves. So that has to be out. And so then we'd have to go left again. And that's enough to see the problem. So let's fill this out. This places a 9 here, which places an 8 here. That also places an 8 here, and forces a 5 here. But then, where do we go? So we can't go up because 5 and 8 are taken. We can't go left because 8 and 9 are taken in the row. So our snake gets blocked. So what that means is this cell is not path. And again, I'm using snake and path interchangeably, and that's my bad. It's a snake going on a path. How about that? Anyway. All right, so now that this has been eliminated as a possibility, we can see that it's not possible to go left from here on the path now. The reason for that is if we took this cell, no matter what, we're going to have to somehow loop back around. And the only way to connect with this dot is to come through this cell. And if we come through this cell, well, now we've just gone straight here. We're branching. We can't branch or touch ourselves. So we have to come straight down or straight right, and then that's it. So there's only one more cell down here that's part of the path. So we can undo all that work we just did and mark all of this as not path. And next, we can work up here a little bit. So we have this 1, 3, which means 1s can't be here in this box. And we have this 1, which means 1s can't be here in this box, which means 1s have to be somewhere in this row. And if we reference our friendly cell values here, it's clear that 1 isn't friendly in these 3 cells. So we have to have a 1 here. We know it's not going to be here because this has to be path. In fact, it's not here because this also has to be path. And so this has to be a 1. It's not friendly, which means the path comes up here. That makes that a 5, eliminates the 5 from here. That's a 2, 3 pair. And now we are going to take a bit of a detour because we know our path does this. So I'm actually gonna clear out all these gray cells just to make our scene a little bit less dreary. And we know we just have to take this one or this one with purple. But let's not forget about our arrows, and specifically this arrow here. So if you remember, the rule for these little killer arrows is that the sum of the friendly cells has to equal the sum of the unfriendly cells. So unless you can have 0 of each, you have to have at least 1 friendly cell. So what are the possibilities for these 3? Well, this is row 7, row 8, and row 9. Column 7, 8, 9, and we're box 9. So these are the friendly possibilities along this diagonal. But if we look, we had 7 locked into these 2, so this can't be 7. And this 9 sees down here, so that can't be 9. And these 8s see down here, so that can't be 8. And the next thing to see is that however I end up drawing this path, say I take this way, that's going to put a 9 in the box. And if I draw this way, this path's going to be 8, and that's going to make this 9 putting a 9 in the box. So actually, we have a 9 limited to these 2 cells. And as a result, these can't be 9s. So actually, the only cell that can even be friendly anymore is this one. So we're forced to put a 7 into this cell. That 7 sees here, making this an 8. That keeps this cell from being friendly. So that actually finishes our path. So now we may as well fill in these. These have to be unfriendly. Because if you remember, they didn't have any friendly combinations left. So they have to add to 7. So they can be 1, 6, 2, 5, or 3, 4. which happens to be the numbers that are left in the box, but I'll do some eliminations. So that we know this can't be 2, so that eliminates 5. And I believe that's the only elimination we can do quite yet, but we'll keep that in mind. So next we look at where 9s can go in this box. So we're just going to be doing some normal Sudoku for a little bit. So this is the only place a 9 can go in this box, because this 9 sees in, this 9 sees in. And if we look up at this box, have the values 6, 7, 8, 9 remaining. And the 6 and 8 are limited, are already in this column. So that makes this a 6, 8, and this a 7, 9, but we have a 9 placed. So that's 7 and that's 9. And now if we look at where 7s can go in this box, we have these 7s looking up into here, so it's a hidden single 7 right there. And if we look at where 6s can, if we look at this cell, it's now down to naked single. It can only be 6. So we have 1 in the row, we have 2 in the box, we have 3 in this pair. We could just say 1, 2, 3 from this. We've got 4 and 5 in the row. We're saying it is a 6. It's got a 7 and an 8, 9. So it has to be 6. And if we look down here, where can 8s go? So these two 8s see into this box. So that is a hidden single 8. And we have this row complete, so we may as well fill in 3, 8 possibility there. And so now where do 8s go in this box? Well, we have this 6, 8 pair looking over here, and we have this 8 looking up into here. So this has to be an 8. And that leaves a 4, 5 pair in this box. And so now we did place this 6, and we didn't do the consequences of it. So that actually sees down here, and that places 7, 5, 8, 6 like that. So now we've placed a 6 here, so we can eliminate 6 and 1. And if we look at now where 6 can go in this box, it has to be down here. And so that eliminates the 6 here, so this can't be 1. And now we have placed this 5, so that looks up here. So this is a 4 and a 5. And now we can actually fill out these triplets for the rows. So this is 2, 4, 7, and this can't be 2 because of these pointing up. And this is 5, 6, 9. And there aren't any eliminations for that yet. And so we did place this 4, that looks down here. And so now we can't be 4, 5 that way. So now we're either 3, 4, or this should be 2, 5. Sorry. Yeah, this should be 4, 5. So we're either 3, 4, or 2, 5. I'm not sure where that went wrong, so I apologize. And a couple other things to point out. Where can 4 go in this box? It has to be in one of these two cells. And so then this one has to be a 1, 2, or 3 for the column. 7 looks here, and 7 can't be here. So 7s are limited to here in this box. That looks down here. And the 8 in the box also eliminates this 8. So now we get 1, 9, and 7. The 7 looks up here, placing a 4. And the 9 eliminates this. And of course, these 7s look up into here as well. So that makes 2 and 7. This 4 also sees down here, and that'll finish, or that'll place 2. So we get a 2 here. This is no longer 2. And the 4 here is seeing down here, placing the 6. So I can clean that up a bit. We don't get this 3, 4 yet. If we look, we have 9 and 7 looking into both of these rows and this column. So this is a 9, 7 pair. And if we look at where 1s can go in this column, well, this 1 sees here, so this has to be 1. So we can then mark this as a 2, 3. We have a 1, 9 pair looking up here, so that makes this 1, 9 pair as well. Where does 1 go in this box? It goes here. That sees up here, places a 3 and a 1. That 1 eliminates the 1 from here. leaving a 2, 3 in the column. And this column is a 4, 5, and so then this is a 2, 3, 6. And so now if we look at this cell, it's limited to, the box is limited to 1, 2, 3, 4, but it sees a 4 and a 1. So this is a 2, 3, making this a 1, 4. We can get rid of those corner marks. So next, we can ask the question, where does 4 go in this row? Well, this 4 sees down here. This 3, 4 pair sees here. These can't be 4 because of the pencil marks that we have, the 7, 9 pair and the 4 in this column. And this can't be 4 because of the 1, 4 pair here. So this has to be 4. As soon as we place this 4, we know that we have to add to 7 in this diagonal, so that's a 3. So we get a lot from that. There's a 5 here, 2 here, 3 here. And where does 5 go in this box? It has to go here. And so now if we look at the possibilities for this box here, we have a 1, we need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These can't be 2 or 6, and then this can't be 5, this can't be 4. And this also can't be 4 because of the column, so we can actually place the 3 and the 5. So we can eliminate 3 5s from these. There's a 2 in this column, so now 2 is limited to one of these two. And there's a 4 in this row. So this 2, 6 pair here places this 4. This 3 sees up here, placing 8 and 3. This 5 and 6 are seeing up here, placing a 9. And this 2, 6 sees up here, placing 5 and 6. This is now a triple, so what's left in the box is 5, 7, and 8. So if we look, we actually have a 5 here and an 8. So this is a 7, and we have a 5 here, so that's 8 and 5. All right, so next we're going to take a look at this diagonal, which we've completely ignored the whole time until now. So if you remember, we need to have the friendlies add up to the unfriendlies. So the first thing is to identify some unfriendlies. This 7, unfriendly. There's no way that 7 is friendly in this area here. And this 4 is also unfriendly, because the possibilities here is column 1, row 7, box 7. So these two are unfriendly. So the question is this friendly or unfriendly? Well, if you remember, this box was 4, 5, or 6. The whole reason we had to go straight through, which feels like ages ago now, was because we can only have 4, 5, and 6 as friendly in here, and those had to be used up by the path. So everything else in this box has to be unfriendly. So I've marked in orange the cells that are unfriendly. So I think it would be good to know what the possibilities are for this cell. So we can't be a 1, we can be a 2, we can't be 3 or 4, 5, 6, we can't be 7, or we can be 8 or 9. Sorry, we can't be 9 either. So we're 2 or 8. So the question is, can we be 8? Well, if we add up our greens, and the purple is part of the greens, which is, I know it's a little bit confusing. Maybe for now I will color that green just so it's clear, but I'll change it back to purple so it'll be part of the path again. Our path is overgrown with grass for a second. We're going to call the gardeners to clean that up. But what is the maximum our greens can add to? Well, 6 plus 4 is 10, plus another 3 and 1 is 14. So we can't have the oranges add to more than 14. Well, 7 and 4 is already 11. So we certainly can't put an 8 in there. So this is actually a 2. And I will make this purple again. Gardeners have come. So now where does 8 go in this box? Well, it's limited to here now. So that sees up here, 6 and 8. And if we look at this row, we're limited to 2 and 6 left. We just place this 6. So this is 2, this is 6, this is 2, this is 3. This is no longer 3. Actually, these couldn't be 3 for a bit. We place this 2, so this is now 6 and 2. And it's pretty simple Sudoku from here, I think. There might be one more instance where you have to use the diagonal, but we are down to 6 and 4 here. and the 6c's here. So this is 4, this is 6. And we place this 3, so this is 2, 3. And so now we can just do this sum again. So 7 plus 2 plus 4 is 13. And we have 6 plus 3 plus 1 is 10. So this has to be a 3 to make our 13 sum. So this is 3, this is 4. C's over here for the 1 and the 4. This has been resolved for a bit, 1 and 9. And remaining here is 1 and 9, so we can place 9, 1. And these two remaining are, sorry, that 9c's down here, 7, 9. These two remaining are 3 and 7. And so we can place 7 and 3. And so that is how you solve Why Can't We Be Friends? I hope you enjoyed the solve. I hope you enjoyed trying it. At least you had this video to come back to as a way to make progress if you got stuck. So I hope that this style of video was nice for you. I'm really interested in doing more puzzle showcases in the future. Let me know how you liked this format. Do you like the live solves better? Do you like the showcases? Do you like when it's my own puzzles, or do you like a healthy mix? I personally would like to do a healthy mix. So as long as that's okay with you guys, I would like to do that. So leave a comment below if you have a specific opinion. If you liked this video, if you thought that it wasn't good to be doing it this way, but I think it was good. And I would definitely like to thank Ryokousha and Philip for allowing me to make this as a showcase video instead of a live solve. And please make sure, if you want to see more of my videos, the absolute easiest way to do that is to subscribe so it shows up in your feed. And other than that, until next time, thanks for watching.